Hi, everybody. It is Wednesday or Thursday, the 17th, 18th, no school Monday, Tuesday of this week. So welcome back, and I hope you got to rest up a little bit and got some work done too. So last time when we were together, we did our comprehension story was Clean Your Teeth Well, and then you plotted your progress on that. Then I assigned the warm-ups and reading for chapter 4. So you should be through page 4 on your warm-ups document. So remember, you should be through page 4 on your warm-ups document. And that document, you are either working on the gun warm-ups as a document, or you might be working on it on paper. So I'm going to grade it on February 26th. So whatever chapter we're up to, that's how far you need to be on the warm-ups. So looking at that, again, you should be through chapter 4 reading and up through chapter 4 warm-ups for the gun. So remember, those warm-ups have pages on them. I labeled them with pages. So pages 1 through 4 should be completed all the way up through chapter 4. So if chapter 4 ends on page 56, basically you can have all of them done up through pages 51 through 57. Okay, so pages 51 through 57. You can have all of those completed, anything through page 56 pretty much, okay? So that's through page 4 on the document or the worksheet. Page 5, that's where chapter 5 begins, okay? So that's chapter 5 begins. All right, so that's that. And I'm not sure what just happened to all of my stuff, so I got to pull this back here. Okay, so chapter 5 begins there, and you should have that listed out. Okay, so you were supposed to read chapter 4 and have through page 4 on the warm-ups document completed. Next, I'm going to have you get open all of your tabs so that you're kind of prepared. One half of the class needs to now grab their binder, as we always do, because you'll be keeping track of your comprehension score, and as well as opening up all of these documents that you see on the screen. So, one, always open up the daily doc. Of course, the daily doc for February 17, 18 for today. That's in the black folder. 2, vocab 7 words, StenoPad, orange folder. Okay, so vocab 7, orange folder, the StenoPad. So you can copy and paste the 2 words for today, which starts vocab set 7, since we took set 6 test last time, and you should have turned in vocab set 6 StenoPad. All right, so daily doc, vocab 7, and then the article for today is called John Erickson Inventor. So you open up that first PDF that has a handful of stories in it. So today's story 1, D as in dog, John Erickson the Inventor. So remember, you go to the pink folder, then for prediction strategy, then you go to the blue folder. So it's in that first PDF of stories. Then you also want to open up the comprehension test, which is a different tab. Okay, so remember, the comprehension tests are at the bottom of the pink folder to blue folder, and the stories are also pink folder to blue folder. I'm going to X out of my warm-ups for a moment there. So remember, pink folder, then you go to the blue folder because we already did all those other stories. And then at the bottom of the blue, you'll find the prediction comprehension test. So you open that up so that you have that open while you're reading and listening, and then you're doing the test on a sticky note. Then we'll correct it. You'll plot your score, and we'll think about how that's going for you. We'll look at that. Okay, so get your prediction tests, comprehension tests open. And on the stories, we already read Down on the Farm. So you got to scroll down to the story called John Erickson Inventor. Okay, so sometimes they load kind of slowly, but John Erickson, inventor, is what you're looking for. All right, and then on your comprehension test, you want to make sure that you are able to find the comprehension test. Mine are still loading because this is very, very slow sometimes. So John Erickson, inventor, is the comprehension test that you're looking for. Have them side by side so that when I'm reading them to you, you can use the story while you're working on the questions. Okay, so mine still seems to be loading. So have the comprehension test. Look over the questions at this time. Okay, so look over the questions for the comprehension test, and then also thinking about the story. I'll read the story to you today. Okay, John Erickson, inventor. The questions go like this. Okay, so again, you should be looking at your questions. Yours probably loads faster than this. John Erickson was born in, so you got to know, where was he born? As a young student, Erickson did very well in, so what did he do good in? Number 3, Erickson was especially curious about. So what was he curious about? 4, Erickson's inventions in England dealt with. 5, Erickson's main invention was the, so what's his main invention? 6, you can conclude from the article that good engineers are likely to be. So what are the conclusions? What do you end up thinking or saying from the article? That good engineers are likely to be. 7, Erickson was talented at. So what was he talented at? 8, Erickson's inventions most likely resulted from his desire to. 9, you can conclude that if Erickson lived today, he would probably be. And 10, you can conclude that Erickson was a successful inventor because he. Okay, so always read the questions before you read a story or an article, or before you even if you did a science experiment, what are the questions, or what are the outcomes? What am I looking for? Okay, so we did dragonfly, clean your teeth well last time. Now John Erickson, inventor. So obviously this is about a guy, so C, check for clues. Inventor, that's got a little different stamp on it, looks a little bit different, but obviously he has invented something sometime within around maybe 1826, because I see a date listed there. Link to prior knowledge, well, I would say if it's in the early 1800s, there were tons of things being invented, like machines and things to produce things. Unlike inventions today, are a lot of technology invented type of things, as well as machines. Uncover predictions for you. I predict that John Erickson must have created or invented something that helped a lot of people, but I don't know for sure yet. Then you read it, and then you would examine the reading by making a new prediction or reflecting on what you read. Okay, so here we go. John Erickson, inventor. John Erickson was born in Sweden when Thomas Jefferson was president of the United States. He grew up among the woods and lakes of Sweden. He did not attend public school. 3 days a week, a tutor came to John's home to teach him and his brothers. They were taught whatever their parents thought they should learn. John Erickson learned quickly, especially in drawing, but he was most interested in his father's iron mines and the machinery in them. When the tutor was not at the house, John went to the mines. He would ask the miners how things worked. Afterwards, he would go home and build models of the mine machinery. He used cords and pieces of wood to make his models. When John was a teenager, a canal was being built all the way across Sweden. The Swedish government wanted to set up a corps of engineers. Their job would be to run the canal after it was finished. John's father had him appointed as a cadet engineer. John and the other cadets attended classes in engineering. Senior engineers taught them algebra, geometry, and drawing. In 1826, John went to London. Steam engines had become practical only a few years before. John's engineering studies helped him understand these new engines. He often found ways to improve the engines because ideas came to him as he was working on them. Ericsson made over 20 inventions, mostly engines or parts of engines in England. As a result, he became known as one of the best engineers in England. His main invention was the screw propeller. At this time, all steamships were pushed through the water by enormous paddle wheels, one on each side of the vessel. Between them, in the middle of the ship, the engines were placed. This seemed like a poor system to John. The big paddle wheels were always braking against floating objects. The huge wheels could turn only very slowly. Ericsson believed that all this could be done away with if the ship were driven by one large screw. A screw propeller would be much smaller and take less power for the same speed. Ericsson was busy with other things. It took him 4 years to work out the shape of the blades. A ship using the propeller was tried out in 1839. It was such a success that soon everybody was building ships with screw propellers. Okay, so you probably didn't even think of them being any different. All right, so now on your sticky note 1 through 10, you're going to complete the questions. I'll set the timer for 8 to 10 minutes, and then we will come back, correct it, plot your progress on your chart, and then carry on. Okay, so now we have completed the test. You plotted it on your chart, and you should have your chart. You should have now 4 different spaces filled in for your plotting. Okay, so make sure you put your chart away at this time inside of your binder, and part of you can put your binders away, and then the other part of you as soon as they're done. Okay, so just kind of to get back to where we're at here, we just read John Ericsson, the inventor. You plotted your words. Now we're on to the daily document for today. Let me open this up as we go through here. Okay, so have your daily doc open for 217:18. I'm going to get out of the comprehension test because we're done with that. I like to close some of my tabs. So today's daily document, we just did the prediction strategy using Clue, and you did a little comprehension test. Chapter 5 warm-ups for our story. Okay, so we're on to chapter 5. So you should be looking at the warm-ups for chapter 5. So you're either on your paper copy or you're on the document that's in the folder for the gun. Okay, it depends. You pick which one. So you should be on page 5 of the warm-ups for the gun. Okay, so the gun warm-ups, you're either doing paper or the document. The warm-ups are in the gun folder, so you should be on page 5 of the gun warm-ups. Okay, so mine's loading. Yours is probably loading, or you already had it opened up if you were listening earlier, and you should have open to page 5. Okay, so we'll look at the warm-ups for the gun. You should be working on those for pages 57 to 67. And then we will be looking at the gun together. We're going to be creating a whole class summary for chapter 4 that you read last time. We'll read chapter 5, finish that, look at a couple of vocab words for vocab 7. I'm going to hand back your vocab 6. We'll look at that after we read for a little bit, go over that. So at this time, again, you should have open your warm-ups for the gun. Okay, so we're on pages 57 through 67. So it's page 5 on this. Okay, it takes a long time for my stuff to load on this screen. All right, so page 57 to 67 in the gun. Okay, again, going down to about page 5, that's where we're at as mine loads, and we will be working on those. So at this time, you should be working on page 5 for the warm-ups. All right. The living room was often filled with the aromas of pork chops, pot roast, or fried chicken. He loved the smells. Well, the clue word in that would be smells. Okay, so aromas would be nice smells. Okay, nice smells, things that smell lovely. Number 2, how come you married him, Mom? Tyree asked bluntly, just wanting to know the truth. So if you ask bluntly, you ask it straight out. Okay, not beating around the bush, and you'd say it straight out why you want to know. Okay, straight out, blunt. Number 3, Tyree was filled with bitterness, and for once he could not hold it back because all that negativity was boiling up inside of him. Okay, so if you have negativity building up, it's not positive for bitterness. It would be something negative. So feelings against something. It would be feelings against something. Okay, around the time his brother began dabbling in crime. If you're dabbling in crime around a certain time, you started to kind of start it or start into it. Okay, so to dabble in it is to kind of find interest in it and start up in it. Number 2 on that part, all 3 girls looked at him awkwardly. So if they're looking awkward, it's kind of like, what's going on? Like not normal, awkward, not normal. Tyree fumed as he sat down next to Lark, watching her carefully. Fumed? It's not smiling and feeling calm. It would be very, very angry inside, just really super angry. Okay? So that was part of worksheet 5 for chapter 5 for the gun. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do at this time, like I said, we're going to create a chapter 4 summary together. Then we will listen to chapter 5 on the audio. Okay, I'm going to pass back your chapter 6, or vocab 6, and we're going to look at vocab 7 right now before we go on and I shut off my video. Okay, so vocab 7 for today's daily doc. Again, we'll do a chapter 4 summary and read part of chapter 5, but vocab. Copy and paste these. Again, remember that you are in the orange folder for vocab, and you should be working on transferring 2 words each time. You can either copy and paste them to the vocab 7 document, so you should have that open and you should be working on that right now. You're either transferring them to the vocab 7 steno pad, or you're writing them down on paper. Remember, you can make copies of anything you want too for these documents. All right, chapter 7, monogamy. You look up mono is the prefix, GAM root, and Y is suffix, having one spouse at a time. Mono, one, okay? One spouse at a time. Monotone, gamut uses GAM, and sticky for Y. Being married for almost 30 years to the same person is monogamy, having one spouse. My sweater is one color, so it is monotone, one color, monotone. And polygamy. Poly is the prefix. GAM means marriage, and Y, okay, you have to look those up. Look up the definition, and you do these 2 words using parts. Polygamy usually leads to divorce in marriages because of unfaithfulness, okay? And you create the other sentence using one of your words. Okay, so again, you should have transferred those to the vocab 7 document steno pad listed here. And then you want to make sure that you're either writing it on paper or completing those sections, of course, that are yellow on your own. Okay, so you can X out of your steno pad. Daily doc is here. Like I said, we're going to now create a chapter 4 class summary. Read chapter 5. Whatever we don't finish in chapter 5 will be homework. So finishing chapter 5, couple words on vocab 7, and working towards reading assignment sheet 5 through 8 for the gun. Okay, so passing back vocab 6 at this time. I'll I'll do that. Then we'll do the chapter 4 summary, reading chapter 5 for the gun. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. Remember, fluently means to be speaking very well about something, fluently, good at it. Okay, fraternal is brotherly. Okay, so fraternal is brotherly love. Okay, fraternal, like fraternal twins, and fluently.